In this video, I'm going to give you 4 tips on how to write better sentence structures to help you make your academic writing even better. Welcome to Writing better sentences, paragraphs, and essays. Tip number 1 is the power of variety. You want to have a variety of sentences in your essay. Simple sentences can become repetitive and boring. The company was large, it had many employees, it produced multiple products. You're probably writing better sentences than this already, but you can see that writing several simple sentences in a row can be very boring. You could combine the first 2 sentences and make it more interesting. The company was large and had many employees. It produced multiple products. This is better, but if we combine all of them into one sentence, the sentence improves even more. The company was large with many employees who produced multiple products. If I was going to give a rating for each of these sentences, the last one would definitely get the highest marks. Sentence variety really does make a difference when writing in English. We have many different types of sentences, from simple sentences to compound, complex sentences. Using each of these types of sentences in your writing helps to make your writing a lot more interesting for the reader. If you need more ideas of how to write these different types of sentences, I have videos for each of these specific types that you might want to check out. In your writing, you also want to use a variety of sentences with different lengths, including some short and some long, to help make it flow better. Here's an example. The company is located near Chicago, Illinois. It has a large workforce that produces multiple products. The main products are household goods. However, it also produces some small tools. Its main market is in the United States, but it also exports to several South American countries. This results in added revenue. This first sentence is a simple and short sentence giving us the information about what this paragraph will be about. This sentence is a little bit longer, and the next sentence is quite a bit longer. The following sentence is a long sentence again. However, our final sentence is very short. Using a short sentence at the very end makes a very strong statement. As you can see, when you vary the length of your sentence, the flow of the paragraph is more interesting. By changing the types of sentences you use in your writing, as well as a variation in length, you can make your writing a lot more interesting. Tip number 2 is to master parallelism. Parallelism means words that match in structure or ideas that follow the same pattern. For example, the words writing and reading. I like writing and reading. We don't want to use a sentence like this. I like writing and to read. These 2 verbs are not parallel. I like reading, studying, and to write stories. Again, this sentence does not use parallel words. It would be better to write it this way. I like reading, studying, and writing stories. Here's another example for you to look at. The hotel manager told his employees that they needed to be on time, that they needed to be polite, and do their best to please the customer. I think you can see that the last phrase in this sentence is not the same as the first 2. They're not parallel. This would be better. The hotel manager told his employees that they needed to be on time, that they needed to be polite, and that they needed to do their best to please the customer. You can see the 3 phrases that are now in the same pattern. We could make it even better by writing it this way. The hotel manager told his employees that they needed to be on time, be polite, and do their best to please the customer. Let me show you a few examples of parallelism in some famous speeches. Let every nation know, whether it wishes us well or ill, that we shall pay any price, bear any burden, meet any hardship, support any friend, oppose any foe to assure the survival and the success of liberty. This was said by John F. Kennedy. Here's another one. That's one step for man, one giant leap for mankind. This was said by Neil Armstrong after he landed on the moon. And finally, a very famous beginning to a book by Charles Dickens. It was the best of times. It was the worst of times. It was the age of wisdom. It was the age of foolishness. Let's look at the sentence by John F. Kennedy again. You can see the list of key ideas that he puts into his sentence. Using this kind of technique creates a powerful impact on the reader or the listener. We can do something similar in a thesis statement in your introduction paragraph. In today's environment, recycling should be compulsory in order to conserve resources, reduce pollution, and save energy. Your ideas are very clear and can create a powerful impact at the beginning of your essay. Tip number 3 is to use something that we call inversion. Sentence inversion is changing the word order for a special effect. We could write, I have never seen such an amazing product. If we invert this sentence, we have this. Never have I seen such an amazing product. The second sentence is an inversion of the first and has more effect. Here's another example. The assignment was so difficult that it took over 2 years to accomplish. We could write it this way. So difficult was the assignment that it took over 2 years to accomplish. This second sentence is a lot more impactful than the first. You might try writing some sentences like this in your next essay. Here are a few more examples to give you some ideas of how you could write these types of sentences to create a sense of urgency or drama or surprise. Had he understood the importance of the matter, he would have worked harder to finish it. A more common way to write this sentence might be like this. He would have worked harder to finish it if he had understood the importance of the matter. Not only is it useful, but it is also inexpensive. Only after much discussion was the decision made. Again, the last sentence could be written this way. The decision was made only after much discussion. But I think you can see that the inverted sentence is more interesting. Using inversion creates a more sophisticated and formal tone, which you want to have for academic writing. Seldom has there been such a successful endeavor. Only later did they discover that they had stumbled on a very unique solution. Little did they realize that they had uncovered a new remedy for the situation. Try writing a few of these types of sentences in your next essay to make your essay sound more formal. Tip number 4 is to use the power of combining sentences. There are several ways to combine sentences, which include conjunctions, participial phrases, as well as relative clauses. Let's look at a few examples. Writing can be difficult, but with determination and practice you can improve. This is an example of using a conjunction, in this case the word but. There are others that you can use to connect two sentences, as you can see on the right. Another way to combine sentences is to use participial phrases. Having finished the assignment, Paul decided to go see a movie. The phrase at the beginning of that sentence is a participial phrase. One more way we can combine sentences is to use relative clauses, such as in this example. The students who received the highest grades were rewarded for their efforts. By combining sentences, you can create more complex and nuanced ideas. Let's take a look at this example. Mr. Jones had been successful in business for many years. He was able to give good advice. We can combine the sentences in this way. Mr. Jones had been successful in business for many years, so he was able to give good advice. This makes a very good compound sentence. However, we could write it in this way as well. Having been successful in business for many years, Mr. Jones was able to give good advice. Again, looking at these sentences, the last sentence has a more interesting sentence pattern. By combining sentences effectively, you can make your writing more concise and impactful as well. For example, there were some employees that were seen as more experienced. Most of them had been working for over 10 years. We could combine these two sentences in this way. The employees who have been working over 10 years were regarded as more experienced. Here's another example. The company plans to downsize its marketing department. The financial officer has some objections to this. We could combine these two sentences in this way. The financial officer has some objections to the company downsizing its marketing department. As you can see, by combining sentences, you can make interesting and concise sentences to make your essay even more powerful. If you want to learn how to combine sentences in this way, I have several videos explaining how to use each of these types of techniques for combining sentences. Practice is the very best way to improve your writing. Practice using the different sentence structure techniques that I've discussed in this video. Variety of sentences, parallelism, inversion, combining sentences. All of these will make your academic writing sound even better. Happy writing!